Hey everyone, welcome to January and 2022. We've got some amazing things going on in January with doTERRA. We've got lots of new trainings coming up. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jada Hansen. I'm a diamond with doTERRA and I love to dive into the energetic aspects of the oils. We'll cover a little bit of the physical aspects, but I'll give you a brief overview of what's special in January. And you've been seeing that I've been holding this one up, Arborvitae. This is going to be one of the products that you can get for 10% off this month in January. For the product of the month, which is the free product that you'll get between the 1st and the 15th if you place an LRP order, it's Japanese peppermint. And I don't have it because we've never been able to buy it before. It's never been available. It's a limited exclusive item and it's only available on your LRP. So I'll talk a little bit about the difference between them, but they're very, the Japanese peppermint and the regular peppermint, okay? So what you wanna know is that it's from the same family, but it's a different species. So it's still very high in menthol. Of course, it's a very crisp, the Japanese peppermint we're talking about now. It's very crisp, it's very light. It's much stronger in the specific ingredients that when you're applying it to the skin, for example, if you tend to be sensitive, you're going to want to dilute this one. It's not like the other peppermint. It is found in our Tamer blend, so it is very good for digestive support. It's very good for respiratory support. Any symptoms of head tension, you can use it exactly the way you would use peppermint regularly. In addition, though, it's really good for respiratory support, the Japanese peppermint. And also, I just want to see if I'm leaving anything out. It's very, very cooling. So when you're using it for like muscle support, again, dilute it for sure. It can be taken internally just as the other one is, and promoting clear airways in your diffuser. You can breathe it in directly from your hand, and it will work as a stimulating, cool, minty oil, also in terms of flavor. For the energetic aspect, which that is where I love to use the oils. I use them for all of the physical things, of course, but as we know, when we have a physical symptom arise, there's often an underlying emotional cause. And so when we use the oil, both for the physical and the emotional, it's like you're getting the side benefits. So with peppermint, it's the oil of the buoyant heart. So it is for uplifting the heart. If you feel like there's been too much heaviness, there's just been too many things that have been piled upon. It could be that the end of last year was intense. The beginning of the year, you're thinking, I'm hoping it's going to be lighter, and it's not lighter and it still feels heavy, but you need a breath of fresh air, like a pause. You want to use the peppermint oil over your heart chakra. You can't use it too much. If you're using it to escape, if you're using it to not dive down and go into the emotions you're feeling months and months on end, you don't want to do that. But you also, in this cycle of healing, you can't be down the whole time and looking at all the debris without coming up and getting some infusion of light. And this peppermint oil will support you in coming up, feeling like, ooh, okay, there's purpose, there's point in all of this. And then when you feel like it, you can dive back down and look at some of the stuff. Or maybe just from being up for a while, you won't need to dive down again because you've changed your perspective. So I think it's a very transformative oil. I don't believe people use it enough, but what I do like to see is when people mix their rollers, that they will add in peppermint as an overall high note to pull the entire blend up. So this can be done in the diffuser and in the rollerball blends, or if you're layering the oil. Be aware that when you're layering oils, I've done a webinar on this. It's called Essential Oil Synergy and Blending, Layering versus Blending. It's on my Instagram. You can download it for free. It changes the chemistry of the other oils that have come before. It drives them in and makes them stronger. So when you're layering, you'll often see, for example, in a technique such as Symphony of the Cells, it finishes with peppermint. Aroma touch technique, it finishes with peppermint because it makes everything else much stronger. So just be aware of that when you are using it. And in this case, the Japanese peppermint, because it's so high in the menthol, it's going to do that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this little powerhouse. This is Arborvitae. It's a 5 ml that you get for 10% off in January. This is one potent oil. I will say, when you start off using this, just use 1 drop because it is such a powerful oil. It is sourced in Canada, and the sourcing, which I've included in my letter, and you can find that in the material here, is really incredible because it would otherwise be all these wood chips that would just go to waste. And they found a way to use them and derive the oil out of it. And it is so powerful. So it's antibacterial, anti-cancer, antifungal, and astringent, and an expectorant. When you're hearing the word expectorant, it's often when you're having phlegm, it's often when you're having any type of inflammation, anything that's congested, lung tissue, respiratory system, sinuses. This is very, very powerful. So for strep throat, for example, any issues there, you're going to rub 2 drops over the outside of the throat, and you can gargle 2 drops in water. Make sure you spit out. Do not swallow that because it's going to pull out all the toxins. You want to make sure that those go. It's incredibly good for bug repellent. You can use it in several drops with carrier oil. You can put it on needed areas of the body, or in bug, like if there's areas in your house where there's bugs, you want to make sure you spray that. It is also great for to protect your wood. You can do 4 drops of Arborvitae and 2 drops of lemon, and on a cloth, and polish your wood. It really restores the wood. Let's talk about fungal issues. Now that we're talking about wood, there can be fungus in wood. There can be fungus in the body. And so if there's fungal issues, you can always use it neat the way it is, directly on the area. Let's say it's with toenails, fingernails. If it's for women in that part of the body, you want to rub 2 drops over the abdomen and the bladder area several times a day. And you can use a coconut oil to do that. The body oil, the fractionated coconut oil. If there's any of the big C's in the skin, this is very, very good. You want to apply it diluted often and in small amounts to the area where you need to do cell regeneration in order to get that thing extracted from your skin. And finally, just so you know what's working, what's the active ingredient, is the esters in Arborvitae. It's called a methyl thujate, makes it restorative oil. And it's not only restorative to the skin, it's also very restorative to our spiritual and emotional health. So Arborvitae is the oil of divine grace. And this oil, I probably am not using it enough. I should go back and use it. I used to use it. I used to actually mix 1 drop of this to 3 drops of elevation. And I would mix them together on pulse points so that I could support myself in trusting and letting go and really believing in the flow of life. So the oil of divine grace supports individuals who believe and act like all progress must come from one's own efforts, by struggle, solitary effort, and they're lacking the trust in the divine grace. And these individuals, and I'm saying not so much anymore, but it definitely used to be me. I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to think that the only way I would get a result was if I worked really hard, until I had really understood and worked with the power of God and the power of connecting to the universe and the power of manifestation and ascending and higher thoughts, and really having the proof that the universe comes through for you. I had always had it, but I had lost faith and I needed to be reminded. So even though I had lived my life like that and had always seen when the divine came through for me, there had been a series of events that had caused me to lose faith in that. And once I restored that faith, it's like, wow, you really, with the help of this oil, if you're not feeling grounded, if you're constantly pushing through and struggling, this oil will really support you in letting go of all that distrust and in all that excessive rigidness. It helps you to be more joyful, trusting, grounded. And the Arborvitae, the Latin meaning actually means to sacrifice, but is to sacrifice one's own will, to get out of the way so that the divine, you're not blocking the divine. And that's what this oil teaches us. It asks us to relax, take a breath, trust the flow of life, and so that we can live effortlessly. And I have to say that the last couple of years obviously has taught many of us many things, but if there's one thing that's come out of it for me personally, and many of the people I know, is that this old paradigm, very masculine way of living, it just doesn't work anymore. It does not work. We can't force ourselves, muscle ourselves, push ourselves to achieve. It is much more of a easing into and being in the flow and bringing it to us. That doesn't mean we're not prepared. It doesn't mean we're not disciplined or working for our dreams, for our desires, for our goals. That's not what it means. It means that instead of thinking it's only us and forcing and pushing, there is a real beautiful synergy and harmony with the way the universe is working, and God is working through us when we're in that space. And I just love this oil. You can probably tell. It's strong. It can kind of almost be a little bit gasoline-y. So when you mix it with, recently I've been mixing it with Davana, which was an exclusive oil we got a couple of years ago. The two together is wow. It just lifts each other up. Davana is a very aphrodisiac oil, so it will change depending on which person is using it. It'll change with your chemistry. And then with that Arborvitae underlying grounding, it's just wow. But you can use any of the sweeter oils. You can use the nerolies, the florals, citrusy to lift it up and to sweeten it. And you can even use it as a little bit of a perfume. One last tip, and then I'll round up, is if you're having a very, very hard time grounding. Now, this is specifically for women, where if you're up in this register and you cannot come down, and when you're up in this register for too much, like if you're living in the 7th and spending too much time up here, it can be too flighty and it can be a stressful period if you are not able to feel yourself and feel your body and get grounded. And you'll know, because you'll just be much more scattered. You'll jump to conclusions much faster, be faster to be emotional about things. You're not grounded in your wisdom. And when you really need to ground into that womb and into that internal wisdom, add some coconut oil first, but to the taint. Okay, it's an intimate area. It can burn if you're not careful. You don't even want a full drop. What you want to do is take the bottle and go like this. So just what you have on your finger after the coconut oil, put it on your taint. That is guaranteed to root you down immediately and get you into your feminine wisdom. It's really, really powerful. I also just like to put a little drop right here on the back. It's super grounding when you put it on your spine. It just sucks you right in. So good luck with that. Good luck in January. We've got, like I said, continuing education starting. We've got lots of good stuff happening. And we're excited for you to be on our team. If you haven't found someone to join with yet, make sure you reach out to the person who shared this video with you, or reach out to me below. And we look forward to you and your oil journey. Take care.